Once upon a time, in a circus, big top, lived a fairy family, the sisters Lollipop. Every day at 6 o'clock, come rain or shine or snow, fairies came from far and wide to see their famous show. Lola was the one in charge, and Linda lifted weights. Lulu juggled lollipops and sometimes spinning plates. Their act had been the same for years, and their tent was worn and old. But every night they did their best, and all the seats were sold. Till one morning Lola woke. She yawned and rubbed her eyes. She looked outside and had a shock. What a bad surprise! Next door, where the grass had been, the plants and trees and flowers, there stood a brand new theme park with rides and slides and towers. The park became the place to go, where fairies met to play, and no one came to Lola's show. She sighed as if to say, "The rides are so exciting, we just cannot compete." Lula said, "Let's face it, friends, I think we might be beat. So we'll just make our show better," Lola boldly cried. "We'll do our best, so if we fail, at least we'll know we tried. Let's think of something super big, a spectacular creation. A show to make the fairies talk will be the new sensation." In a flash it came to Lola, a plane to make them swoon. Lola the fairy cannonball would fly up to the moon. So the fairies built a cannon that was just the perfect size to fire fearless Lola from the circus to the skies. They banged and bashed and clanged and clashed until the job was done. The work was hard, the hours were long, but they'd never had such fun. The day for launching Lola came around really fast. Linda hollered, 3, 2, 1! And with a deafening blast, Lola shot up into space as the fairies waved and cheered. And Lola thought, "What a lovely place! I'm glad I volunteered." And when Lola finally landed, she cried, "Oh my goodness, golly! I thought the moon was made of cheese, but it's a great big orange lolly." It certainly was the sweetest place Lola had ever seen, with lollipops of every kind and mountains of whipped cream. The air was sweet as strawberries, and the sky was pink and clear. Lola flew back down to earth. She'd had a new idea. Her cannon show had been a blast, but this plan was the ace. They'd make their fairy fortune firing fairies into space. And so the sisters got to work. They never seemed to stop. Soon the moon trips made enough to buy a new big top. With a brand new sparkly cannon, glitter and lights aglow, very soon the stage was set for their amazing circus show. It was thrilling and exciting, a full house every night. The fairies saved the circus thanks to Lola's daring flight. So Lola, Linda, and Lulu made the perfect team. By working hard and not giving up, they lived their fairy dream. Always remember, friends, to dream big and fly high, and never give up on your dreams. Lola, the Lollipop Fairy, by Tim Bugbird and Laura Eade.
Since he was a little boy of 2 or maybe 3, Jake had longed to sail away with pirates out to sea. And now at last the day had come for Jake to say ahoy. He was going to join a pirate crew and be their cabin boy. "Hurry up, landlubber," Snort-Nosed Ned cried. "Don't delay, this treasure map will make us rich. Our anchors away." All the pirates on the ship were fearsome rabble-rousers. Fish Breath Fred, the captain, kept live lobsters in his trousers. And as Jake soon discovered, they were quite revolting too. Each man had rotten teeth and fleas and smelt of fish gut stew. Although Jake tried to fit in, once the ship was out at sea, his hands were soft, he smelt of soap, he cried when he scratched his knee. He didn't have the head for heights to climb to the crow's nest. He didn't have the heart to catch the rats who were a pest. Then Part Pants Pete found out that Jake had never had a fight, and that was more, he still slept with his teddy bear at night. Captain Fishbreath Fred in fury stamped and stomped and cursed. "Of all the cabin boys we've ever had, ye be the worst." Then one night Jake asked, "Please tell me, who's your figurehead?" "It's giant jelly jaws to scare our foes," Long John Jim said. The crew drank fizzy pirate pop and burped and shared their tales of the grisly, gruesome sea monster the size of 7 whales. "It stings just like a jellyfish and bites just like a shark. It can smell you from 10 miles away and see you in the dark. It sucks in massive gulps of air and does the loudest burps. It can swallow pirate ships like this down whole in just 2 slurps." Next morning, Butt-Beard Bob woke all the pirates up with a yell. He'd seen another Jolly Roger high above the swell. "Shake a leg, me hearties, get your PJs off for starters. A scurvy bunch of boil rats wants to have our guts for garters." The whole crew jumped straight to it, getting ready for a fight. Except for Jake, who hid behind some kegs of pop in fright. The other pirates soon arrived and caused a huge uproar. "Give up ye treasure map, ye grubs, or be prepared for war." Captain Fishbreath Fred stood firm and snorted in disgust. "This treasure map is ours, so brace your britches, fight we must." Both sides fought hard and dirty, using brawn and brain and muscle. But in the end, the other team of pirates won the tussle. Shiver me timbers, mateys, the situation stank. Without some kind of miracle, our boys would walk the plank. Still down behind the kegs of pop, Jake looked on in dismay. How ever was he going to make things right and save the day? Then inspiration struck. After a quick and canny think, Jake opened up a keg and guzzled all the fizzy drink. In a matter of mere moments, his small tummy grew quite round. Then down from deep within it came a rumbly sort of sound. The bubbles rose up to his nose and tickled like a feather. But Jake sniffed hard to snort them down and pursed his lips together. When the time was right at last, Jake didn't have a doubt. He opened up his mouth and let a monster come out. Every single pirate's blood ran ice cold at the sound. A noise like that meant giant jelly jaws must be around. "Abandon ship," the captain of the rogue pirates decreed. Then off they sailed in mortal fear and panic at full speed. Captain Fishbreath, Fred and crew thought they were surely doomed, that all they could do now was wait in dread to be consumed. But then they heard Jake's little voice cry, "Shipmates, don't you see? Giant Jelly Jaws was not the burper, it was me." The pirates were astounded. The boy had saved them all. Who'd have thought a burp so big could come from one so small? Much manly hugging later, and a secret tear or two, the pirates checked their map once more and sailed off through the blue. When they reached the island, Bogey Bill soon found a spot. The X marked on their map where they should dig for the jackpot. The pirates were so happy that their quest was at an end. They shared a hot fish finger feast and praised their newfound friend. "Bert boy Jake, you saved us all and helped us find this chest. Of all the cabin boys we've ever had, ye be the best." Giant Jelly Jaws and the Pirates by Helen Bohr and Ben Mantle.
Who's the cutest, cuddliest cat we know who reads to all of the kids? It's Mr. Whiskers and his friends.
Well, hello everyone. It's so good to see you again. Have you ever had a day where you can't stop thinking about sweets? Well, I'm having one of those days today. And I can't think of a more suitable story time than Cammy Kangaroo Has Too Many Sweets by Stacey Bauer. A story about a mischievous little kangaroo who loves treats almost as much as I do. And without further ado, sit back and relax. Rest your head, your nose and your toes. Open your eyes and open your ears. Put on a smile and enjoy the show. All was calm in the kangaroo house. Mummy was putting baby Wyatt down for a nap, while Cammy Kangaroo was having quiet time in her room. At least, she was supposed to be having quiet time. Instead, Cammy's brain was buzzing. She could not stop thinking about treats. Candy, cake, cookies, ice cream. Cammy loved them all. She knew a great place to find treats at her house, the freezer drawer. Cammy hopped down the stairs and over to the freezer, grabbed the handle and pulled it open. After placing the ice cream into her pouch, Cammy Kangaroo hopped quickly to the playroom and locked the door behind her. Cammy Kangaroo scooped out a little of the ice cream and stuck her paws into her mouth. It was the best ice cream she had ever tasted. She lost track of time as she tried more and more of that delicious ice cream. "Cammy," her mummy called. Cammy froze. The playroom door rattled and slowly opened. Mummy sighed and said, "Come here, Cammy. We need to have a little talk." "Cammy, it's not okay to sneak treats," Mummy Kangaroo said. "Treats have sugar and can cause cavities. You have a dentist appointment coming up. Next time you want a treat, you need to ask Mummy or Daddy first. Do you understand?" Cammy nodded. But the very next day when Mummy took Wyatt upstairs for a nap, Cammy started thinking about treats again. She quietly made her way back to the freezer drawer, but this time it wouldn't open no matter how hard she pulled. She hopped into the pantry searching for more goodies. The top shelf, that's where more treats were hidden. After Mummy caught Cammy eating sprinkles in the playroom, she removed the lock from the playroom door and put it on the pantry door. Cammy still didn't give up. She found the cupcakes that were hidden on top of the refrigerator and licked off the frosting. Then she ate Daddy's secret stash of chocolate bars that were in the drawer next to his bed and hid the wrappers behind her dresser. She even found the pan of brownies Mummy hid in the microwave. Every day, Cammy found some way to sneak a treat. Soon after, it was time for her dentist appointment. Cammy sat in the big dentist chair. After the hygienist cleaned and flossed her teeth, the dentist came in to take a look. The dentist said to Mummy, "Well, I'm afraid she has 4 cavities." "Cammy, do you brush and floss your teeth every day?" Cammy nodded. "Have you been sneaking treats again?" Mummy asked. Cammy didn't say anything. "Cammy, it's very important that you listen to your parents about treats so you don't get any more cavities," said the dentist. "I'm going to let you choose a new toothbrush and some floss. Do you think you can stop sneaking treats?" Cammy nodded and said, "I'm sorry, Mummy." Mummy gave her a hug. The dentist let her pick out a new toothbrush and some floss. Then Cammy and Mummy Kangaroo headed home. When they got home, Cammy bounded quickly into the house to tell Daddy about the dentist. She caught him and Wyatt sitting on the couch with a big bowl of ice cream. Mummy laughed. "I think it's safe to say this whole family has had too many sweets. It's time to change our habits. Let's start with a healthy dinner." Cammy sure was a clever little kangaroo, wasn't she? Not much could stand in the way of Cammy and her treats. I just hope she does a better job of brushing her teeth before her next visit to the dentist. Which reminds me, I should go brush my teeth before I go to bed. Until next time, my young storytimers, this is Mr. Whiskers saying meow and good night. Hello everyone, Mr. Whiskers here. Enjoying our story times? Be sure to subscribe to our channel and never miss a story. And tell your friends so they can join in the fun. Goodbye for meow.
Hi there! You found your way to story time with Miss Becky. I'm Miss Becky, and our friend here has an April Fool's question for you. Has anyone ever April Fooled you? Yes? do you say gotcha when you do the April Fooling? It's April Fool's Day and Gilbert is getting pranked by everyone, especially Louis the bully. Let's put on the magic reading glasses and see if Gilbert can outsmart Louis. And remember, look closely at the pictures. You might be getting April Fooled yourself. April Fool, Watch Out at School by Diane DeGroat. Gilbert woke up and looked at the calendar. It was April 1st, April Fool's Day. He hopped out of bed and started filling his backpack with tricks to play on his friends. His sister Lola peeked in the door and said, "Knock, knock." Gilbert answered, "Who's there?" "April Fool," Lola shouted. Gilbert laughed and explained, "You're supposed to play a trick on someone, not tell jokes." "Okay," Lola said, "do a trick on me." But Gilbert didn't have time to play tricks on his little sister. He was already out the door. Gilbert met Patty on the corner. As they walked to school, Patty suddenly said, "Watch out, Gilbert, your shoe's untied." Gilbert stopped to tie his shoe, but it was already tied. "Gotcha," Patty said. "April Fool." Gilbert laughed. He couldn't wait to try that trick on someone else. Principal Pug smiled and waved when he saw them. "Morning, good," he said. "Day nice have." He was talking backward. The bell rang and Patty said to Gilbert, "Up, hurry, let's." Mrs. Bird was not smiling or waving. She said, "Put away your tricks so we can get started with our reading lesson. Gilbert, please start on page 10. Gilbert stood up and read out loud. "Where is my book?" Sam asked. "I need it now." Mrs. Bird stopped him and said, "When someone reads out loud, it would be nice to know where the punctuation marks are." Then she said, "Here's an idea. When you come to a period, say pop. And when you see quotation marks, say psst. A question mark can be huh. And the exclamation point is boing. Try it." Gilbert took a deep breath and started over. Psst. Where is my book? Huh? Psst. Sam asked. Pop. Psst. I need it now. Boing. Whew, Gilbert said. This is hard. Louis said, and it sure is funny. Boing. Everyone laughed. Mrs. Bird laughed too and said, "Thank you for being such a good sport, Gilbert. April Fool." Gilbert sat down and made a loud psst sound in his seat. "That wasn't me," he cried. "Somebody put a whoopee cushion there." "Gotcha," Louis said. They finished their reading silently, but Gilbert kept thinking pop and boing whenever he saw a period or an exclamation point. He also kept thinking about how he could play a trick on Louis. He had hot, spicy gum in his pocket, so he turned to Louis and asked, "Would you like a piece of gum, Louis?" "No way," Louis said. Later, Gilbert put a plastic spider on Louis's desk when he wasn't looking. "This is so fake," Louis said when he handed it back. Then he slapped Gilbert on the back and said, "Your tricks are the worst." But Gilbert wasn't giving up. He still had a few more tricks up his sleeve. He also had a sign on his back that said, "I smell." No wonder everyone was snickering as he walked to the cafeteria. Louis, Gilbert grumbled. Before he ate, Gilbert first checked his seat for a whoopee cushion. There was none, so he sat down and opened his lunchbox. Suddenly, he jumped out of his seat and yelled, "Ah!" There was a worm in his apple. "It's just a gummy worm," Patty said. "And look, there's a note." The note said, "April Fool." It was signed Mother. Gilbert couldn't believe it. Even his mother had tricked him. At recess, Frank said, "Watch out, Gilbert. There's a bee on your head." Gilbert swatted at his head while Frank laughed and said, "April Fool." Margaret said, "Watch out, Gilbert. Your shoe's untied." Gilbert bent to tie his shoe. "Made you look," Margaret said. Gilbert sighed. He couldn't believe that he had fallen for that trick twice in one day. Then Philip shouted, "Watch out, Gilbert!" But Gilbert wasn't going to be tricked again. He said, "I'm not." Before he could finish, a kickball smacked him on the head. "I told you to watch out," Philip said. "I thought it was another trick," Gilbert groaned as he rubbed his head. "This is the worst April Fool's Day ever. Everybody's playing tricks on me, but I can't trick anyone." "I told you your tricks were bad," Louis laughed. "You'll never trick anyone." Gilbert said, "That's what you think, Louis. I have one more trick I've been saving, just for you." Louis laughed again and said, "What is it?" "I'm not telling you. You'll have to wait and see it." Gilbert whispered to Patty what his trick was. Patty said loudly, "You're right, Gilbert. That's the best trick ever." Louis snorted and said, "You'll never April Fool me." As they walked back into the classroom, Gilbert said, "Oh, Louis, let me hold that door for you." Louis asked, "Is this your trick?" "No," said Gilbert. He held the door open and Louis walked through very quickly. During spelling, Louis couldn't find his eraser. Gilbert said, "Here, Louis, you can borrow mine." Louis looked at the eraser and said, "Is this a trick?" "No," Gilbert said. But Louis inspected the eraser very carefully before he used it. When they went to the art table, Gilbert pulled out a chair and said, "Here you go, Louis. Have a seat." Louis looked at the chair and said, "It's a trick, right?" "No," Gilbert said. But Louis checked the chair very carefully for a whoopee cushion before he sat down. When Louis got up to clean his brush, Gilbert said, "Be careful, Louis. Your shoe is untied." "Ha!" Louis said, "I'm not falling for that old trick." But his shoe was untied, and Louis did fall when he stepped on the lace. Everyone laughed. "I told you it was untied," Gilbert said. "I thought it was your trick," Louis said, tying his shoe. "No," Gilbert said, "my trick is much better than that." During quiet time, Gilbert brought a book to Louis and said, "I think you should read this, Louis. I really liked it." Louis wouldn't take the book. He said, "Is it a fake book? Is it glued shut? Is it going to squirt me when I open it?" "No," Gilbert said. "It's just a really good book." Louis took the book, but he couldn't concentrate on the story. He kept looking over his shoulder to see where Gilbert was. Louis was so busy watching out for Gilbert's trick, he didn't see Kenny putting a fake spider on his desk. Louis screamed when he saw it. "Gotcha!" Kenny said. And when Patty told Louis his shoe was untied, he bent to tie it. "Gotcha!" Patty laughed. And when Louis sat on his own whoopee cushion and Margaret said, "Gotcha!" everyone laughed. When the bell rang, Louis finally shouted, "I give up, Gilbert! I can't stand it anymore! Do your trick already!" Gilbert smiled and said, "There isn't any trick, Louis. I just made you think that there was. You got April fooled." Gotcha! Was it fun watching Louis try to guess how Gilbert was going to fool him? Did Louis ever guess right? No. Would you say Gilbert outsmarted him? Well, Bear and I hope you outsmart everyone. But watch out, anything can happen. Come back soon and see us again for more tricky adventures. Bye for now.
Welcome to Granny's Book Nook. Today's story is Henry's 100 Days of Kindergarten by Nancy Carlson. September. In September, on the very first day of kindergarten, Miss Bradley said, "Each day at school I will add a jelly bean to this jar. When there are 100 jelly beans in the jar, we'll have a party to celebrate 100 days of kindergarten," said Miss Bradley. "Everyone can bring in 100 things to share for show and tell, and we can eat all the jelly beans." "Yummy," said Henry. "But for now, we've got pictures to color, songs to learn, and letters to print." October. In October, Henry learned it's not a good idea to bring a pet spider for show and tell, especially when it gets lost in the classroom. On Halloween, all the kindergartners dressed up in their costumes for a Halloween parade. In November, Henry and his classmates shared a big Thanksgiving feast. Then all the kindergartners showed pictures of what they were thankful for. December. One day in December, Henry and his classmates were so excited when it started to snow that Miss Bradley decided they should all play outside. Just before the winter break, the kindergartners put on a holiday concert. January. In January, when the class went to the school library, Henry discovered a very favorite book. Henry had his father, his mother, and even the babysitter read him the book over and over until he had it memorized. February. Finally, in February, it was the 100th day of kindergarten. When Miss Bradley put the 100th jelly bean in the jar, the class cheered. Then it was time to show their 100 things. Susie had made a paperclip chain with 100 paper clips. Parker showed 100 words he knew. Tony showed a house he had built made of 100 popsicle sticks. Sydney had only 98 marshmallows glued on a cardboard because she ate 2 on the way to school. When it was Henry's turn, Miss Bradley said, "No spiders, I hope." "Nope. I would like to introduce you to..." "Bring her in, Mom. This is my great-grandma, Millie. She is 100 years old." "Wow, she's even older than you, Miss Bradley," said Tony. The kindergartners had lots of questions for Great-Grandma Millie. Did you know George Washington? Did you go to school on a horse? Were there computers when you were little? When were you born? Do you like candy? Do you know any cowboys? Is it fun to be 100? Then Miss Bradley said, now it's time for jelly beans, and everyone gets 5. Hey, that's not very many, said Tony. Why do we only get 5? asked Henry. So Miss Bradley made a chart showing that 100 jelly beans divided by 20 kindergartners equals 5 jelly beans each. But 5 jelly beans isn't much of a party. That's why I made a cake with 100 candles. Wow, that's a lot of candles, said Henry. As everyone enjoyed the cake, Henry said, I sure hope there's another 100 days of kindergarten, because kindergarten is so much fun. It sure is, said Great-Grandma Millie. Thank you for visiting Grammy's Book Nook. To get more information for this book, check the description box below. Be sure to thumbs up this video. Click the subscribe button for the latest videos on Grammy's Book Nook.